Hi and welcome to the first roleplay on the Rich's Farming FS channel. I'm playing FS22 using a PS4, and for this roleplay series I'm using the Calmsden Farm map by Oxygendavid. It's based on a real life location in Gloucestershire. It's a great map with a very realistic feeling. Thanks to Oxygendavid for producing this map for all the effort that it must have taken. So, onto the story. My name's Rich. I've had a very successful career in the city, but my wife, my son and I have decided to sell up and move to the countryside. We bought the farm that I'm about to show you, along with all of the equipment, from a farmer called David who decided to retire and just sell everything all in one go. He actually still lives nearby in the village here. He's kept the house that he lived in the village, and I have bought a separate house, which I'm standing in front of just now. But anyway, it's useful to have David nearby. Hopefully I'll be able to chat to him occasionally and get some advice and information from him. I grew up around farms, so I have experienced farm life as a teenager, but I've never owned my own farm before. The farms that I grew up around actually used to have the old Ford tractors, so I'm a big fan of the Ford tractors, but there's some more modern equipment on this farm instead of those. It's actually quite a large farm to take on with little experience, so it might be a complete disaster, but I'm going to do the best that I can. And it'd be great to have you follow along on this YouTube channel as I develop my farming skills over the next couple of years as we farm this. Now, I will have help from a guy called Jim, who I'll introduce you to later, either show you on this video or in a future one when I manage to find him. He actually worked on the farm with the previous owner, David, but he stayed on after the change of ownership. He has many years of experience farming, including on this farm. So that's going to be really useful for me, because he knows how this farm works, he knows how to use all the machinery and so on. So that's going to be very helpful. Anyway, let me show you around. So, as I said, this is my house. It's not actually right at the farm, but it's in this small village, and the farm buildings and the farmland actually pretty much surround the village. The farm's divided into a couple of different areas. Part of it up the hill that way, part of it down the hill, down there. I'll show you around all of those areas. There's arable fields, there's grass fields, and quite a few buildings. So let me walk up the hill for a start, and I will show you the first area of the farm. Just hop over the gate and take you through the village. David actually lives in the house on the corner here. Very close by, very convenient if I need to ask him anything. Unless he's trying to avoid me because he doesn't want me to ask him questions. I guess we'll find out. This is one of the areas of land that I own now. This is part of the farm, this large grass field. And there's another one just over the wall in the distance up there. And over there, the grass areas that you can see in the distance are also part of the farm. There's some buildings over there for horses and pigs. Like I said, David used to have animals on the farm. I don't have any animals anymore. He sold all of those prior to selling the farm. But the buildings and the equipment that he used for the animals are still there. So in future it might be nice to have some animals on the farm again, but I'm initially going to concentrate on the arable part of the farm. So as we head up here, you can see these buildings here. These are one area of the farm buildings. A couple of tanks on the right there for liquid fertilizer. And then around here, there's one of my tractors. This is a Fendt 714 Vario. It's about 150 horsepower tractor. Useful machine. And then in this shed I have a sprayer. This will give you a bit of a clue to something else that I'm going to show you shortly. Large class combine harvester header. And this actually is one of my favourite tractors of all time, the John Deere 6R. I really like these tractors. I think they look great. More powerful than the Fendt. This has 270 horsepower. And then just tucked into the corner there is a roller. Around here you can see one of the arable fields that I was telling you about. This one's about 20 acres, something like that. It's got barley in it at the moment, and as you can see, the barley is ready for harvesting. So one of my first jobs on the farm is going to be harvesting this. 20 acres or so of barley. Through that little gap in the trees in the distance over there, you can actually see another one of the arable fields. That's wheat, also ready for harvesting. Smaller field there, that's about 13 acres. And then there's a third arable field in the distance in this direction. You can't really see it very well from here. It doesn't have a crop in it at the moment, it's just cultivated land. Quite a big field again, that's about 17 acres up there. Now back to the farm buildings. Over there there's a diesel tank, the part of the grain storage silo system, and a shelter area at the back. And then here is quite a large shed actually, but with a surprisingly small doorway. Maybe for more experienced operators of farm machinery that doorway is not an issue, but it's making me a little nervous because over here we have the class tree on 720, pretty big harvester, small doorway, big harvester, small doorway. I'm going to have to be very careful getting that out. But anyway, let's deal with that when the time comes. Other machinery, you've got a baler, and then over here I've got the cockling cultivator and the Vergestad seeder. Both pretty big. Good for covering large areas. Let me just close that again. And so in this corner of the shelter, this would be good for bales or maybe storing machinery under here. In this corner there's a door back out onto the lane. So the village is down there, that's where I just walked up from before. Over there, that's the top one of the two grass fields that I was talking about. And then you can see here quite a relatively modern shed. And this is the other part of the grain storage system, so this is where I'll bring the trailers in to fill up the silos. And over that side, bulk storage area, I suppose, could store crops or root crops of some kind in here maybe, or just machinery in there. And there's two very big doors, ideal for getting machinery and trailers in. And the last shed in this section of the farm. Has yet another storage area for something in bulk or machinery. And over here there's a really well equipped workshop area. Perfect for maintaining all of that machinery. Although I'm going to have to get Jim to help me with some of that. Hopefully he knows what he's doing and he can teach me what to do. So that's the first area of the farm. I'm going to now just hop in the 6R actually and take you down to one of the other areas to show you. Actually no, we'll take the Fendt. As part of buying the farm, I went on a couple of courses at the local agricultural college to learn how to drive the tractor, so at least, although I don't have much experience with modern machinery like this, at least I do know how to operate them now. and I'll just have to get a lot more practice in as time goes by with running the farm. Ah! Here's Jim. That was good timing. Hiya Jim. Alright, you've started your videos then, have you? Yeah, I'm just filming my first video actually. I've started showing people who watch the videos around the farm, so I've just been around this bit up here, and then I was just going to go down the hill and show around the rest of the farm. Very good. Hiya folks, I'm Jim. I work on the farm. I know what I'm doing and he doesn't, so hopefully I'll be able to help him out a bit and not get too frustrated with it, eh? Yeah, okay, hopefully not, Jim. I'll try and learn. I'm usually not bad at picking stuff up. Well, I hope so. Let's see how it goes, yeah? See you in a bit. Bye. Well, I was hoping I'd run into Jim so that I could introduce you to him. Now back down through the village to show you the second part of the farm. This village is pretty popular with people just walking around. There's actually a couple of quite popular public footpaths that people go hiking on through this village, so you do tend to get a lot of people walking around, but also just the locals like to go out for a stroll on a nice day like this, so you've got to watch out for pedestrians driving through here. Back past my house again, up there. Got to watch out for the deer as well. A lot of them around. So the second part of the farm is just up this bit of the lane here. What are you doing out here, boy? Here's my dog. He's a good boy. Alright, now he's gone back home. Let me show you the farm. So, as I said, David had a lot of animals on the farm, which he sold before I took over the farm, but the machinery in some cases and buildings related to looking after the animals are still here. So there's this large cow shed with another grass field behind it. You can see there's a slurry tank on the side of the field there, and this silage clamp. So I do have a lot of grass fields still, ready for cutting at the moment in fact, and I might make some of it into silage, but silage to sell rather than silage to use for the animals, because obviously I don't have any at the moment. Another diesel tank there, and there's a second silo down here, smaller than the one up at the other part of the farm, but useful. And the barn on the other side of the lane over here is also mine. This half is empty. And the other half is identical to that, but I do have my telehandler tools in here, bale spike and a bucket. And I absolutely love the view out of the window here, very pretty. That land's not mine, it's just the barn on this area that belongs to me, but I just love that. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Let me just close that up again. And then back across the lane, there's a couple of buildings over here, including this shed. So I showed you previously a shed with a small doorway. This one's even smaller, but it is a smaller shed as well. It's quite long and thin actually. I shouldn't really call it a shed, should I? It's a stone barn. It's better built than a shed really, that, isn't it? I've just got my mower in this at the moment. I'm going to have to be careful getting the mower out because that type of mower sticks out a long way behind the tractor, so when you turn it sort of swings out the opposite direction behind you, and like I said, this is a fairly small doorway, or at least to me it feels like a small doorway. Somebody who's used to driving these machines maybe thinks it's not a problem, but I'm going to have to be very careful there getting that out of the barn. But it's only a small problem. Plenty of good storage areas on this farm. And then we've got this shelter over here. Got my telehandler in there, I've got a pallet fork for it as well. Nice JCB telehandler. And I've got my grain trailer just to the side there. And then this is the third tractor that came with the farm, and it's actually identical to the one I showed you just before. It's another 6R, 270 horsepower tractor. It's a good job I like them, isn't it? And then there's a ton of junk around here, including this caravan, which I hope nobody's staying in there. I wonder if someone was paying David to store that. I wonder if they're still paying David to store that. Looks pretty abandoned to me though, to be honest. It's taped down at the front there. I think that might have to go. But I'm not going to worry about that now. Right, so that's it for this area of the farm. Just before I drive up to the final area to show you that, let's just cross over the road. So, this is the wheat field that I was telling you about. In fact, you can see in the distance in that direction the barley field that we were stood next to before, in the first area of the farm up there, and this is the wheat field. So, as you can see, it looks like a good crop, ready for harvesting. So I need to get on with some harvesting pretty quickly. Now, let me take you up to the third and final area of the farm to show you that. To get to the third area, I'm going to go back up through the village again. Back past my house. And past David's house just on the corner here. The last part of the farm is actually through this gateway. As we drive down here, you can see there's more of the village houses on the left hand side. And my grass fields on the right hand side. Just before I go through that gateway actually, I'll just show you down here. So this is where David kept a load of chickens. You can see there's a couple of little huts for the chickens and an old car that they used for shelter. I'd like to get some chickens pretty soon. That shouldn't be too difficult to look after, and I'll use that area as well for the chickens. I have this bale shelter here, good area for storing bales. Maybe get some hay off the grass field and bale it and store that in there. And then down here, let me just go through this gate. So there's actually stables here. Now, David didn't have horses himself, but he rented out these stables to people who owned horses and wanted to keep them on his land. So that might be an opportunity to make a little bit of money doing that. And next to it, there's a useful area which has all of the jumps for the horses at the moment. So if I do the same thing and let people keep their horses here, then I suppose I'll keep this area as it is and they can use it. Or I suppose I could get rid of these and use this as just a grass field. Get rid of the stables as well, maybe. But having said that, I do have a large grass field here and on the other side of that wall. And then another grass field here, which was previously used for keeping pigs. You can see actually there's still the shelters here for the pigs, feeding troughs and so on. So that's what David had in here. I don't know what I'm going to do with this as yet. Maybe in future get some pigs, I don't know. But at the moment I want to concentrate on the arable side of the farm. Work out what I'm doing there, get used to actually owning and operating the farm with just the arable side of it, and I'll harvest the grass from those two fields as well, and maybe bale that up into hay bales or make silage or something from the grass there as well. So that's what my plan is initially, while I get used to running the farm, and then maybe in future develop the animal side of it again, but not quite yet. See if I can get the arable side of the farm being successful and making some money first before I can afford to do anything with animals. So that is the farm. You've seen it all. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I'm going to stop this video there, and then on the next video I will start harvesting those fields. So please join me. Watch me try to work out how to operate the harvester. Probably Jim getting annoyed with me, having to explain everything to me 5 times. Hopefully not, but we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and happy farming.